We all know someone who loves music. In my case, I know a guy who loves music a lot, the kind who listens to a song and starts analyzing layers, textures, emotions, instruments, that obsessive level of passion, you know. So naturally, this guy decided to do what every music lover does, learn to play an instrument. He started with guitar, and that's when he discovered something curious. His hands wouldn't obey his mind. His mind said now. Change the chord. His hands replied no. Then he tried keyboard. Similar result. Rhythm escaped him. Sheet music looked like alien hieroglyphics, and the more he tried to learn music theory, the more it felt like studying ancient Greek without subtitles. The problem is, this wasn't someone who gave up because outside of music, he mastered multiple fields: engineering, physics, mathematics, computer science, electronics. He could understand extremely complex systems, but he couldn't understand why he couldn't learn music, and that bothered him a lot. Until he did what any curious mind does. When something doesn't work, he stopped trying to force the door and started looking for another entrance. That's how he found a tool called VCV Rack. For those who don't know, it's basically a virtual environment full of electronic modules that you connect, adjust, test, and they start producing sound. To many people that looks confusing. To him it felt like home, because their music wasn't play this note after that one. Music was, if this signal goes in here, this happens. It was cause and effect. It was system, it was logic. And for the first time, he could create things that sounded good. Not always, but often enough to realize something was working. But there was still one question that blocked everything when he started a new project. What sequence of notes to use? He could recognize when something sounded good, but he didn't know where those sequences came from. Then he had an idea that was different. He thought, if I don't know how to invent musical sequences, maybe I can find them somewhere else. So he wrote a program. This program took any audio clip, could be music, speech, any sound, and analyzed it using scientific concepts like frequency separation, psychoacoustics, critical bands of human hearing, sound perception curves, mixing techniques. And the program transformed this into 4 musical lines, lead-based drone texture without needing to decide note by note. And it worked. It worked so well that he thought, if I can get music from sound, why not get music from an image? So he created another program. Now the process was, image gives visual analysis, gives emotional interpretation, gives musical parameters, gives sound sequence. He used a psychological model called VAT, which measures valence, positive or negative emotional arousal, sense of control or intensity, and yes, images started becoming music. At this point, any reasonable person would have stopped, but not this guy. He decided to try one more thing, turning text into music, using statistical analysis of writing, sentence, rhythm, word density, linguistic patterns. He managed to generate new sound sequences. Then came a realization. Maybe he hadn't failed at learning music. Maybe he was just trying to learn music through a path that did unmatch how his brain works. Maybe music doesn't need to start with notes. Maybe music can start with patterns, perception, emotion, structure, information. Why tell this story? Because there are many people who love music but believe they have no talent. Maybe the problem isn't talent. Maybe the problem is that we learned there's only one way to enter the musical world. And maybe there are several. If you've ever felt like you were looking at music from the outside, you might be in the right place. In the next videos, I'll show how these experiments work, and who knows, maybe you'll discover a new way to make music too.